Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. Today, in our Hello Open Metaverse segment brought to you by Animoca Brands, we're chatting with Medhi Farooq, Senior Tokenomics Analyst at Animoca, a leader in digital entertainment, blockchain, and gamification that is working to advance digital property rights and contribute to the establishment of the open metaverse. He is joined by my good friend, Thomas Carter. Thomas is an entrepreneur, CEO, and futurist. Thomas is the founder of Dealbox. As an emerging leader in fintech, Thomas always looked deeper into the utility of blockchain, and Dealbox brings SEC-compliant tokenized securities into capital markets. Now, in the world of blockchain, tokenization refers to a process where a digital representation of an asset is created on a blockchain, authenticating its transaction and ownership history. Today, we're chatting about why a growing number of firms are backing the tokenization of securities, despite certain industry leaders' crypto cynicism. Now, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink said that the next generation of markets, the next generation for securities, will be the tokenization of securities. And if you really want to get down and gritty, a tokenized security is a digital representation of a security on the blockchain. Common ones are bonds, stocks, and derivatives. Tokenized securities are represented on the blockchain with a specific type of token called a security token. However, this is very important. These aren't to be confused with the security tokens used in computer access systems. Blockchain security tokens are financial instruments that reside on blockchain, similar to crypto, and represent ownership stake in an asset or an enterprise. And it's definitely not just BlackRock that is betting on tokenization as the future of financial services. In November, JP Morgan turned to Polygon to trade tokenized cash deposits in a Singapore-based trial via Onyx Digital Assets, a private blockchain created by that very bank. They definitely set precedents with that. And here to chat tokenization of securities, why Dealbox founder Thomas Carter believes Web3 needs to check into rehab, and why a growing number of firms are backing the tokenization of securities. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Welcome. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being on. Thomas, let's start with you. Welcome back, first of all.
Yeah.
Let's get to it. So, playing devil's advocate, because you know I'm a huge supporter of the blockchain, but why do you need securities tokenized? Number one, feels complicated if one is foreign to blockchain concepts, and one would ask, why try to fix something that's not broken? How is tokenizing securities solving real-world issues?
I think one word is frictionless. So you're just going to have better data. You're going to have faster transactions. You're going to have transparency. The neat thing about tokenization as it relates to digital securities, you could, your accreditation, your, medallion guarantee restrictions, all the things that happen in a traditional transaction are in legacy systems are pretty heavy. All of that could be done through programmability and smart contract. And I think we could all agree there's a lot of room for improvement there. And that's why you have these bigger companies coming out and getting involved. I mean, look at Depository Trust Corporation, DTC. They're it. They run the entire financial infrastructure for all financial transactions for publicly traded companies, and they're making a move towards tokenization. So it's really about just better data, faster, and it's the next logical way to move things forward.
It does seem like that, yes. And it's interesting because when you look back at I read the article you sent me, and despite his bullish view on the future of tokenization, Larry Fink, this is BlackRock CEO, said that he believes that most cryptocurrency related companies are just not going to be around in the future. But he did say that blockchain technology is extremely, extremely important, and of course that is at the basis of it all. Mehdi, the process of tokenization dematerializes securities, meaning that the proof of ownership is now represented by a digital token instead of a paper certificate. And the digital token runs on DLT. So for those listening, distributed ledger technology, this is important, and executes automatically through smart contracts. This enables issuers to reach a wider group of investors, and the immutability and transparency of blockchain are what enable it to be the golden source of truth for asset ownership. Talk to me about some of the benefits, some of the secondary benefits tokenizing securities can have on the securities life cycle.
So theoretically, you'll have access to international markets, and those international markets will be 24/7. So we have already seen emergence of DeFi, where you'll have liquidity 24/7 across the world. And when you have that kind of a liquidity, let's say even if you are in Pakistan or even if you're in India, you can trade some of the illiquid assets theoretically and do it 24/7. So that's number one. The number two is, since DLT technology has composability, since everything is on one layer, you can do interesting things within the ecosystem. So let's take Ethereum, for example. You can do trading. After trading, you can also do lending and borrowing, and then also use the assets for option trading. So we don't have that type of interoperability and composability in traditional finance that we can kind of think about having it in with a digital asset layer of crypto and blockchain.
Exactly. From you basically mapped it out, from reducing room for human error or manipulation to smoother record keeping and reporting. It's definitely very revolutionary. Also, like traditional securities, tokenized securities are designed to be traded. Security tokens are even available, like you said, this trade of 24/7 with no limits. This is increasing liquidity in the market, and now that you've mapped it up, making the market more accessible to global trade, which is part of this entire reason why this should be happening. As a result, tokenized securities can bring, if you look at it from a financial instrument, increased portfolio diversification to investors, while businesses or enterprises can leverage security tokens to really extend investment opportunities beyond the deep pocket or elite. So thank you for nailing that. Thomas.
One thing I missed, sorry,
Go ahead,
just
go
to
ahead.
add, is the fractionalization part, which we have already seen happen on crypto. So let's say you are LP in a VC, like let's say venture fund, and you want to offload some of your vested capital. You can do that in a fractionalized way. So not completely selling it, but just selling a proportion of it, which is not possible because of illiquidity in traditional market, but you can see that happening in crypto. And we can already see that happen in crypto with digital assets. So when we speak about NFTs, you can see some of the NFT being traded in a fractionalized format, so a portion of a complete asset. So that is something which is also very unique to crypto.
Thank you for adding that. Great piece of information. Thomas, you recently published an article, a very good one, and called it Checking Web3 into Rehab, saying that the rehabilitation needed is both of the ideological and regulatory side, and both seem very difficult to come by. You had a great reference in there. Coinbase's CEO Brian Armstrong was recently quoted saying crypto regulation in the US has been hard to navigate, and regulators really have basically failed to provide a workable framework for how these services can be offered in a safe, really transparent way. What do you say to this, and how do you bring forth a regulatory framework to the space without limiting the potential for innovation?
Well, there's always going to be innovation. I think innovation has to come through regulatory framework to truly get acceptance. So, I mean, you could build like all the things that are happening in crypto in terms of the utility. You could build that utility into regulatory framework. It just has to have the compliance side. I think the unknown is a big problem. I think disclosure is critical, and I think that's what you get when you're tokenizing real world assets. You could tokenize revenue, you could tokenize debt, you could tokenize, real asset backed securities. I think are the future because they're more, you have that information that's going to be required. They meet the regulatory framework. You need the accreditation. You need to know if people are accredited or non-accredited so that you know how to market these instruments to them. You gotta have all the different moving pieces that are involved, and tokenization allows for that, and data room information, all that information that to make more informed investment decisions, having it 24/7, 365, and tokenization allows all that to happen. But regulatory framework, I think, is key, because you're not going to get I think when you look at crypto market, I mean, we hit a high of 3 trillion, right? We're at what, 800 today? I mean, I'm 800 billion. You're talking trillions and trillions of dollars. They can't go into uncertainty. I know markets are uncertain in general, but you have to have a level of certainty, and that comes with regulatory framework. And that, I believe, limit a lot of the volatility because of the transparency and all the benefits around it.
Without a doubt. But what do you think the delay in getting regulated here is? Do you think it's just the unknown?
I think you had the wild west step in, and you saw people raising money with a white paper, and how sustainable is that? And I just think it got off to a wrong start. And I think digital securities, digital assets, I mean, it's been stated, it's in a multi-trillion-dollar market. The data's out there, do the research, but it's where things need to go. I think the market's got, there's a lot of interesting innovation that happened with cryptocurrency. There's a lot of innovation that happens with publicly traded companies. Just think of, the startup, instead of it just starting up building the software, their application, they could still do all that, but just use it using Reg D, using the regulatory framework, use it traditional, methods that have been out there that have been sustainable. Apply those to, the innovation of blockchain and distributed ledger technology. I mean, you're going to see the markets just, I think you're going to see the internet of value, which is really what we're talking about here, grow.
Yeah, very well said and good point. Mehdi, as a senior analyst at Animoca, you get this, you get this by trade. It's what you do. You get this very well. Digital securities or security tokens, STOs, these SEC compliant securities that are subject to the traditional regulations all securities abide by. These, to Thomas's point, in his article, very well written, these securities just happen to be created through the process of tokenization and exist on chain. And if you read that article, innovation like STOs are the poster children, poised to survive and bring hope to, I love this, to hope to the crypto winter, quote unquote, by Thomas. What do you say to this, Mehdi?
I feel like all of this is possible. The concern at the moment is the tech stack is still very nascent. So the issue is with regulatory clearance, we don't have the infrastructure ready yet. So minting on a smart contract is easy, but one-stop solution in terms of having settlement, custody, and regulatory clearance all in one solution is difficult. So one of the issues at the moment is when we talk about public blockchain, for example, anybody can airdrop me, but if somebody is from North Korea or Iran, which is a sanctioned entity, if they can airdrop me anything in my wallet, it's against the regulation. It's against their sanction. Similar with the validator set, if the blockchain is secured by actor, which is bad, or in some other country, it creates issues. So we haven't come up with solution on the infrastructure side of things to kind of get that regulatory clearance. And hence, because of that reason, we haven't seen it kick off. Even though there is a lot of potential, it's a $50 to $60 trillion opportunity. But since the stack is still very nascent and there are few areas to kind of iron out, because of that reason, it hasn't kicked off.
Interesting. Thomas, do you want to give some commentary? We have about a minute left about, the STOs are, how you describe this. Are the poster children poised to survive and bring hope to the crypto winter? I want to hear more about this. We have about a minute.
Well, you brought up a good point about there, but if you're look at people buy publicly traded stocks all over the world. The capital markets, U.S. capital markets are the pinnacle of, just follow that framework for the asset, and build your stack around that becoming digitized, and then it all could be consumed. I don't think it's as difficult. It's just people make it difficult because they don't understand the regulatory environment. If you're taking traditional assets and then you have the appropriate stack that's going to move those assets, provide the transparency, provide all the best practices, there's not going to be any issue. So I think that still the interoperability, having a simple way to transact, with like what we're providing with the $ your name. I think having the interoperability piece is still there for the adoption, but you need to make it simple. You need to make it secure, and we're we are solving a lot of those challenges, and we have lots of clients, and we're excited about the future of security tokens. And I think it is the future.
You're definitely solving real world issues. And I know you're doing that at Dealbox. And of course, at Animoca, that's what they do all day, every day. But tokens are essentially transformative features on, in the Web3 business models. That's what it is. It's separate of authentication. They represent programmable assets on the blockchain that grant users ownership, incentives, and participation in the growth and governance of Web3 platforms. And that's what this is all about. We are out of time, gentlemen, but I wanted to thank both of you for coming on and providing such insight and knowledge into what could seem rather complicated, but thank you for simplifying.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was great.
Thank you. Guys, you're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. That was our Hello Open Metaverse segment brought to you by Animoca Brands. That was the awesome Medhi Farooq, Senior Analyst at Animoca. And that was our dear friend, Thomas Carter. Check out Thomas Carter. Head to thomascarter.io or dealbox.io. And of course, for all the fun and excitement, definitely check out animocabrands.com. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Animoca Brands as a worldwide industry leader in digital, entertainment, blockchain, gamifications, and digital property rights. Animoca Brands plays a key role in the future growth of the metaverse. Ranked by the Financial Times as a high-growth company, Animoca Brands creates a new asset class, GameFi economies, and a more equitable digital framework contributing to the building of the open metaverse. For more information and to become part of the excitement, go to animocabrands.com. That's animocabrands.com.
Welcome back, my beautiful friends. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. Welcoming back to Hello Open Metaverse, brought to you by Animoca Brands. We're chatting with Medhi Farooq and the awesome Thomas Carter. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Hey there.
Medhi, let's start with you. So tokenization now paves the road for so-called stablecoins to be introduced. Stablecoins are e-money that are backed by assets or fiat currency. They are what we quote unquote tokenized funds backed by funds such as commercial money, e-money, or central bank money, which an issuer or custodian holds for safekeeping. This implies that there is a commitment to ensuring that tokenized funds can be redeemed in full. So the use of stablecoins allow instant settlement of investments and payments automatically and globally. What are your thoughts? Are you a fan?
Big fan. I think in terms of crypto assets, I think one thing to distinguish is medium of exchange and store of value. I think we need both. We need assets that go up in value, down in value, but we also need stability. And I think stable coins provide that. So if somebody who's living in an emerging market, they can relate to this. They would rather own, let's say, a dollar amount or a euro amount in their wallet versus some of the crypto assets or some of the currency of a native country they're living in because of volatility. So you need both the features. At the moment, we feel there's a lot of crypto assets out there, crypto commodities out there, but there's lack of medium of exchange. There are only few players out there that dominate. And if you're talking about securitization and tokenization of real asset, you'll need that medium of exchange to kind of buy those because you're already taking underlying risk of the volatility of those assets.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Thomas, what is the mitigation here? What platforms, are there any trusted ones out there that are really, on your radar? But more importantly, are you a fan? What are your thoughts?
Huge fan. I would question maybe some, but I don't want to mention. But I think having something pegged and having that stability is key. And I think the stable coins could provide the liquidity pools, the transfer. I think stable coins are going to be another key foundation of this ecosystem.
Yeah, without a doubt. So listen, this industry, we're headed in a very, very different pace than where we started off. And I think it's going to take a lot of experts. I think it's going to take a lot of technology development, but I think it's going to really take a community of people that are just invested in seeing this through properly and honestly, and not allow, the bad actors that leave a sour taste in everybody else's mouth when they're just getting excited about something that's really solving real world issues. So yeah, I think we're headed in a good place. I'm still very optimistic.
I am too. there's a lot here. I mean, we're just scratching the surface. So I think it's about trust and transparency, and I think blockchain distributed ledger technology provides that.
Absolutely.
And we want to reduce all the friction. We want to reduce the intermediaries, and I just make it make it simple, make it safe, and make it secure. But you have to follow that regulatory framework. You have to have the disclosures, and I think asking those right questions that are part of that regulatory framework helps eliminate a lot of these bad actors, because you're going to be, if the information's not there and it's not what it needs to be, why provide it?
True, very true. Why provide it? Mehdi, closing thoughts.
Yeah, if you're a builder, keep building and be optimistic in this field. I've worked in traditional finance and now I've pivoted to crypto and I'm not going back.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad we have converted you. We are out of time, my dear friends. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mehdi. That was our Hello Open Metaverse segment brought to you by Animoca Brands. That was the incredible Medhi Farooq, Senior Analyst at Animoca, and our dear friend Thomas Carter, founder and CEO of Dealbox. Now, guys, remember, blockchain and security tokens bring extensive opportunities for issuers looking for a wider pool of investors across state borders, while providing investors with more opportunities for portfolio diversification through tangible investments in a digital asset, whether they be tokenized securities or new asset classes. Still, it's important to understand how to issue security tokens, to Mehdi's point, in a way that's safe, compatible with compliance and other financial market needs, and not overly complicated. So you have to do your homework and your due diligence. You can't just jump the gun on this one. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.